Now take your towel and open it up to this kind of a shape. So if you have an actual yoga blanket, fold it once so that it's this big, and then once more so that it's to here. And then roll it up into a really nice tight coil. So if you have a fringe side, take the fringe side and roll it. And if you don't have a blanket or towels, you can use your blocks behind your back instead. We're gonna do supported fish, but I thought it would be nice to have something softer underneath you to start rather than the blocks like we always do. So you're gonna take the blanket, move my mat back a little more so you can see. And you're gonna sit right in front of it. The blanket's gonna go right underneath your shoulder blades. So it hits you right where the block would in a supported fish, right at the base of your shoulder blades here. But it's a little more forgiving. Yeah. And then start with your feet to the floor, knees bent, and lower on down so your head meets the mat. And the arms can just go off to the right and left. And this should be away from your low back. Your entire low back should be free, so that what's on the floor is your seat, your sacrum, your shoulder heads, the back of your skull. But the arch of your neck and the arch of your low back is elevated away from the ground. And I have my feet to the floor, knees bent, and the knees can kind of knock into one another, which feels nice. But if you'd rather extend your two legs straight out in front of you, you can go ahead and do that. If you want to get into the hips right away, you can do feet together, knees apart, which Janine, for you who wanted to get into the groin, you might want to try that. Yeah. And then, especially since it's yin class, I would suggest if you're doing that, to put your two blocks underneath your knees so that you have the support. It's sustainable and you can be held here wherever you are. And then close your eyes. Slide the back of your skull a little bit longer, dropping your chin just enough so that there's about an orange-sized space between your chin and your chest. Whatever is behind your back, whether it's your blanket or your towel or some blocks, it's propping your lungs forward, giving you that back bend, giving you access to a deeper breath, but without having to hold yourself up. Feeling the full circumference of your lungs breathe in and out so that the rib cage expands and contracts wide. Scanning the body to see if there's any place that you can let go of tension, maybe in the glutes or in the low back or in the jaw or the eyebrows. Just breathing in, just breathing out, letting go of your agenda, untethering yourself to what you have to do or what you've already done, and allowing each second, each breath to be with you here. 10 more breaths. 3 more inhales and extra long exhales. One more breath in. And then out. Slowly start to blink your eyes open. Bring the knees to a bend and the feet to the floor if the legs were anywhere else. And then lift the arms up over your head and hook your thumbs above you, pulling your wrists apart, lifting the basket of your rib cage a little bit further away from your waist, still back bending over the blanket or the block. And then circle your arms down and around so that you can press yourself up onto your elbows, onto your forearms, sitting nice and tall. Chin is still an orange size away from your chest. Leading from the sternum, press yourself all the way up to sit cross-legged, and then just pause for a moment with your arms out to the sides on the ground. Letting your spine settle as you sit nice and tall, tilting the pubic bone a little more forward, plugging your sits bones back down into the earth. Stack the vertebra of your spine all the way up the back of your skull, lifting the roof of your mouth. Your eyes can settle closed again, or just you're softly gazing down. Open your mouth, exhale completely out to empty whatever breath that you have. Seal your lips and inhale slowly from the belly up to the rib cage, up to the chest. Hold your breath. Open mouth, exhale, release it. Twice more like that. Inhale, bottom to top, filling up like a balloon. Rise it all the way up. Hold. Open mouth, exhale, release. One last time, deepest breath you've taken, filling up all the way till where you can't hold your breath any longer. Take a sip of air. 2 more sips. Open mouth, exhale, release. Seal your lips, breathing normally in and out of the nose, but from the belly. Blink the eyes open, lift the arms up above you, again, lifting the rib cage, and then hold your thumbs the other way, the weird thumb you didn't do last time, and lift the rib cage even more off of the waist. Grow taller, grow taller. Good. Exhale, open the arms out forward, uncross your shins and make your way into tabletop. You can move everything off of your mat, move it all out of the way, nearby. Hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Nice long neutral spine, and just a little bit of movement before we have these longer held poses, some cat-cow. So however you want to do them, arching and rounding the spine, initiating from the pelvis so that you start from the tailbone, stacking like coins all the way up to your head. Staying linear, if that kind of structure feels good for you today. Or maybe taking your head and hips around, finding a little bit more enjoyment with these circles, up and right and down and left. You can open and close your jaw. You can flip your wrists back so the fingertips point towards your knees. About another minute here just to move your spine in shapes that you might not have gotten to move today, or just to see what your body is feeling like in these poses. Five more breaths. One more inhale. And then exhale. If your wrists are flipped, return the palms to face forward again. And we're going to come into puppy dog pose. But since we're going to be there for a little bit longer than we normally get to, I would suggest putting blankets and blocks underneath you. If you have a bolster, you can just use a bolster or like a couch pillow. Otherwise, I'll show you a couple of options. Puppy dog is this one without any props. I'll show you. It's this one where your hips stay up over your knees and you reach the arms forward and either your chest and chin is down or your forehead is down. But for today, I want to give myself some support. So I'm going to put a block right in between my sternum, like right in the middle of my chest. And then hips stay up. So it's not child's pose. The hips are up. My chest hits the block. And then my forehead on the lower height is on the second block so that I'm completely held here. The butt is up in the air. The back body is draped. If the block is too high, I'm feeling like, oops, sorry, my AirPod. I'm feeling like I want the block, my head to be a little lower. So I'm going to drop my head down and drop my block down. So I'm going to get a little bit closer to the ground, but everything else stays the same. Hips are up, forehead is down, arms extended. Let me just check you guys out for a second. Yeah. So this should feel sustainable again, like that you can stay here for a while. If you need to build yourself up or take yourself down, you can. But think of it almost like a hybrid of down dog and child's pose. Yeah. Your forehead should be on something, whether it's your mat or a block or a pillow. And if you're feeling a little anxious still, or like your mind is racing, maybe rocking your forehead on the floor side to side, massaging through the temples, giving yourself some love. Yeah. Again, here, feeling the rib cage expanding and contracting wide. The belly, free of anything, fills up like a balloon on the inhale and deflates on the exhale. The whole body, almost like a jellyfish, expands and contracts with each breath. And more breaths. Last 3. One more. Inhale and exhale. To come out of this, look forward, walk your hands back, and come into your tabletop again, right back where you started from. Hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Good. Move whatever you had underneath you out of the way, put close by. Tent your fingertips, and then lift your right arm up into the sky. Lean into it. Try to see your right fingertips with your left eye. That's how much you're turned. And then thread the needle. Slide your right arm. Your hips are still up over your knees, so we haven't really moved from this tabletop position. Hips up over your knees. My right arm extends towards the left side of the room, And my left hand is just tented up by my face. Good. And again, we're going to stay here a little longer than we normally get to in a vinyasa class. So I'm just going to keep my left hand here, tented up, giving me support as I breathe into the right shoulder, into the right waist, into the right kidney band. But if you wanted to do something else, you can extend your left arm forward and walk it a little to the right. You can lift your left arm up and half bind it so that the back of your hand, yeah, Josh, I knew you would want to do that one, goes to the outer right hip. Anywhere that it feels like you're not gripping. So in yin, it's different than restorative in that you want to feel the stretch. It's not a place to completely relax. There's minimal effort, but it's a way that you can stay there for a few minutes. So if half binding is okay, do that. If you'd rather just extend the arm, go ahead. I'm going to do the tenting of the fingertips. Close the eyes, relax the forehead. Breathe. Breathe as if you're just filling up your right side lung with air, trying to inflate it away from the ground. Five more breaths. One more inhale. And exhale. Blinking the eyes open, return the left hand to the floor by your face. Come out the way you came in, unraveling the right arm straight up into the air, lean into it, opening up the chest. And then swim stroke the hand forward and down, and tuck the toes to lift yourself up into down dog. You can go ahead, babe. Adam's trying to walk. He doesn't know where to walk. Downward dog. And just take a few breaths here in this really nice pose for the entire body. So walking it out, bend one knee straight in the other leg, drop your heels side to side, shake your head yes, shake your head no. Been on the knees for a while, maybe dropping one heel a little closer to the ground, opening up the back of your calf. Yeah. Good. 10 more breaths here, just holding dog. You can stay moving it around or you can hold it still. Press down through your thumb mounds, press down through your forefingers, your pointer fingers, lifting the backs, lifting the tops of your thighs up and back. Like if you can imagine I had my hands on your pelvis and I was pulling your whole hip up and back to the back corner of your space. Inner heels rooting down, inner knees wrapping forward. The broadness of your back that you felt in puppy dog with your knees down. Try to feel here so that your right butt lifts away from your left armpit and your left butt lifts away from your right armpit. 3 more breaths. One more. Inhale. Exhale, lower down to your knees and make your way to tabletop one more time. I'm just going to turn around so you can see. We're going to do the threading of the needle on this side. So tent up your right fingertips and peel your left arm straight up into the sky. Leaning back, try to see your left fingertips with your right eye, opening up the chest. And then thread it through. Slide your left arm underneath your right wrist. Your left ear will come to the mat. I'm gonna keep my right hand to the floor under my face, but if you would rather extend it forward and walk it to the left slightly, you can. You can also half bind the arm, but focus on reaching your left hand away from your face, but keeping your left hip over your left knee, your right hip over your right knee. And then settle into stillness here. Some of you might feel this a lot in the shoulder. Some of you might feel this a lot in your QLs in the mid-back. Maybe in the low back. Maybe it's radiating across your arm to your fingertips. If you're not really feeling much and you are craving something a little more sensational, with your right hand tented to the floor, you can really press it away from you and turn your head to look under your right armpit, so that you're twisted even more. Or even if you have that half bind, you can go for that as well. Just so that you're almost turning your chin to look up past your right shoulder, but with your head on the ground. 10 breaths. Tops of the feet anchored into the mat, and the feet should be separated hips distance as well. So your two shins should be parallel, just like in tabletop. Three breaths. One more inhale. Exhale, return the right hand to the floor by your face. Sweep your left arm back up towards the sky, lean back, open up the chest, and then swim stroke your left arm forward and down, and again come into your down dog. Now, having done both sides, maybe feeling a little bit more long through the arms, that you can anchor down more through the legs. Heavying the inner heels, lifting the inner thighs up and back. Outer arms wrap in so that you can hollow out the armpits. Just stretching from the wrists up to the armpits up to the hips, and then descending and anchoring down from the hips to the heels. Pressing the right palm forward and down away from your left foot, pressing down and back. And then press your left palm forward and down as you press your right foot down and back. Stretching your whole mat apart. One more inhale. Exhale, walk your feet forward and your hands backwards and make your way into a forward fold, just in the middle of your mat as you are. Once you're there, separate your feet to be hips distance. You can measure out your feet, put two fists between them, and then hang just freely for a moment, letting the arms dangle, sway, shake, bounce, and flutter. Good, tent the fingertips to the floor, lift up halfway, and find your block or two And you're going to put your block or both of your blocks underneath your forehead. And if the forehead is too far, you can do the same thing with your elbows, grabbing your elbows and putting your elbows or your forearms on a block. So build the floor up to you, but either let the heaviness of your arms be on the block or let the heaviness of your head be on the block, whatever feels better. Yeah. And maybe there's a sweet spot where your elbows and your head are both supported by the block or whatever you've built up for yourself. Really letting tinglies radiate down your legs now. Keeping the weight even through the four corners of your feet, but inching a little closer towards the balls of your feet so that it's a little bouncier. You can lift your butt up more and drop your head down better, folding your belly closer to your thighs. Noticing if you're gripping anywhere in the glutes or the jaw. Usually it's connected like that. Without moving too much, just change your grip. So switch the forearm, other forearm on top, and then resettle back into stillness. Inhales, lifting the backs of your legs up more so that your seat gets higher and your head drops lower. And then exhales, like water falling off of your back, sliding down your head, washing away all that holds you down. Let the thoughts just empty out of your head here into the ether. Ten more breaths. Knees can be a little bent. I know that this is a lot maybe for the hamstrings at the moment. We've got another minute. Try to slow down the breath, knowing this is temporary. Last three. One more inhale. Exhale, lower the arms down, tent the fingertips, lift your chest, look up halfway. And then lower down to your knees and come to stand on your shins. So take it slow as you stand up nice and tall. Yeah, take it slow. Hold your hips, give yourself some steadiness, something to look at in front of you. You might feel a little dizzy. This is like our version of Tadasana for today, rather than coming all the way up to stand, just standing on your shins. And then I'm going to turn to the side. You might want to do that as well because we're going to stick one leg out. So if you have room to your left, You don't have to move, but if you'd rather be on your mat and you want to extend, when we extend the left leg out, come onto the side of your mat, hold your hips still, stay on your right knee, and extend your left leg out into the side. Yeah. And then this you should already start to feel in your left groin just by the nature of extending your left leg out. But we're going to add on a little bit for the neck. So interlace your hands at your low back and then hook your wrists, both of my hands around your right hip. So from the back, I look like this. Both elbows are bent, hugging the elbows in towards one another, but my two hands are interlaced into one fist, and I've wrapped the arms kind of like in a half bind around the right hip. Yeah. So stay like that, and then drop your right ear to your right shoulder. And you might just stay steady, but I think it kind of feels nice to take these really, really small circles with the nose and the chin to open up the side of the neck. You can even open and close your mouth a little bit, getting into a release of the jaw. It's not so much a neck roll here where your head drops all the way down. That might be a little too much, but you can do that. It's more subtle. You feel like it popping in your ear. All the while feeling this stretch from the right or from the left inner groin all the way down to your left foot, and really ground the blade of your left foot down like you're trying to peel the left inner arch up. One minute, 10 breaths. Last 3, 2, 1. Lift your head up first. Bring your hands to your hips. Bring your left knee in and come to sit on your heels for a moment in Virasana or saddle pose in Yin with your arms in front of you. If it's too much to sit on your own heels, you can slide a blanket or a block underneath your butt so that your hips are elevated. We're not here too long, just a minute to settle on your folded legs, giving your palms a little bit of a break, fingers curling in naturally. Inhaling up the front line of the body, exhaling down the back. Five breaths. One more inhale. And then exhale, bringing the hands to your hips and stand up on your shins, making sure you have space to extend your right leg straight out to the side, moving anything out of the way if necessary. Drop the arms down, make a fist at your low back, and do your interlacing of your hands the other way. If you don't remember, it doesn't matter so much. It's just if you are a kind of person who wants to do both sides, do it. Punch down first and then hook it around your left hip. Try to hug the elbows in closer. Press down to the blade of your right foot like you're lifting the inner arch up, and then drop your left ear to your left shoulder. So your fists are around to your left hip, and you're dropping left ear to left shoulder. So that now we're getting this stretch on the right inner groin and the right side of your neck. Maybe you're just staying still. Maybe there's a little circular movement, almost so slow and small that I can't tell you're doing it, but for you yourself, it's there. Like a little massage. Eyes can be closed or soft. Be playing with a little opening and closing of the jaw. Ten breaths. Last 3. One more inhale. Exhale, blink the eyes open, lift your head up. Hold your hips. Slide your right knee in. And then before coming down, turn to face the front of your mat again. And then lower your seat down, making your knees wide for child's pose. So feet together, knees wide. Reach the arms forward. And now just lower the head down. And this can be completely flat to the floor, or you can use blankets like a bolster, unless you have a bolster, and give yourself something to lean down on. If you would like to lower one ear down, I'll tell you when to switch halfway through, so that if you are building yourself up on something that looks like this, I have 2 blocks, and then I've folded a blanket on top. So if you want, you can kind of fold over it nicely and drop one ear down. Yeah, you can separate the blocks a little, Allie, so that the one block really hits you at the sternum and the other block is for your head. You just make the blocks as far apart as you need for your own torso. Otherwise, your forehead is straight down, maybe. Yeah, if that's okay for you, Ashley, with your chin down, that's okay. If that's comfortable for you. You don't have to be asymmetrical. And maybe you've got no props and you're just supported as you are. Hips sinking towards your heels, trying to heavy them down. Not by force, just by gravity. About halfway through. So if you have one ear down, switch your gaze so that the other ear comes to your bolster or your floor. And breath. Breathe breath. One more inhale. Exhale. Bring your forehead down if you didn't have it. Lift your hips up, tuck your toes. You can leave whatever you had there and find down dog. Your forehead might hit your structure that you've built. And if so, it's just a little extra niceness for you to let the heaviness of your head be on something as you find this big open down dog. Pressing down through the thumbs, wrapping the outer arms in, lifting your seat up but dropping your heels down. Bottom ribs in towards your spine. Last 3 breaths. Good. Walking your feet forward just a little wider than your structure. Move everything out of the way. And then lower knees down and come to sit. Yeah. We're going to do a wide-legged straddle fold. So turn to the side again if you really want to keep your heels on your own mat. I'm going to put a blanket under my seat so that if I didn't, I might be a little rounded. My tail could be tucked. So to prevent it, I sit up on something, which allows the pelvis to tilt forward a little bit more, which propels you into the fold that you're about to do. So that's how I like to do it. You don't have to. You can just do whatever feels best for you. This is for the inner groin, just to bring it all together. So sit up on something if you've got it. Have your legs wide. And then I'm going to have blocks nearby as well. And you can use the blocks in a few ways. We're going to fold straight forward. So maybe that means for you, you can lie flat down onto the ground. You need nothing. Maybe you want to come down to your elbows and you're supported by your forearms. Maybe you're on your elbows and you're holding your chin in your hands like a kid watching TV. And this is all for no props. Otherwise, yeah, if you're already all doing it, use your blocks any way you want to be held. So maybe the blocks go under your forehead and chest like you do, like we did similar in puppy dog or sometimes like in pigeon. Maybe they're just in your hands and you walk the arms straight out forward in front of you. You can also put them under the forehead And just let the arms be free. I think that'll be my favorite for today. Letting the symmetry of this pose feed you information about maybe what leg feels tighter or what hamstring feels this more. Not to judge yourself, it's just gathering information. Your feet can be free, doesn't matter. And yin, it doesn't matter which way your toes are pointed or flexed or in or out. Just let them flop wherever they flop. Yeah. And this is really nice. I just took a screenshot of all of you because I want to show how different everyone's looks later. Because all of you are doing it in a different way. Some of you are closer to the ground, some of you are just in more of a lean forward, but I know that you're all getting the exact same benefits out of it. You're all feeling this in your groins and hamstrings. That's the beauty of yin, is that there's so many ways to do something, and you all get equal amount out of it. Last 10 breaths. Three, two, one. Look forward to come out of it. Walk your hands back. Sit nice and tall. And bring your hands underneath your two knees. Bend the knees and slide your feet to touch, finding Baddha Konasana or butterfly. And then I'm still on the blanket, which feels right for me. The feet can be as far or as close towards your groin as you want, really, but I keep mentioning the groin since it was a request today. If you want for the groin, bring them a little closer to you. If you want this more on the outer hips, bring them a little further away. And there's a sweet spot where you feel it a lot in both. So if you want to focus on more groin, go closer, more outer hip, go further. If you don't care, you want both, just put them in that sweet spot. And then if you're really needing a groin stretch to need, if you really want to try something, bring your feet up and lower your seat down. Yeah. So wherever you are, this is only if you feel really open through the hips and you are trying to get into the muscle tissue, the fascia, and you want to try something, go for it. And then lean forward any amount. If your feet are higher than your pelvis, you really have to be careful that you're lengthening the spine as you fold so that you're not just rounding down. It's leaning and it's lengthening. That's right. And you can drop your elbows to the ground even if you want to go. Yeah. How's that for you, Janine? Is it okay? Yeah, she likes it. There's no need for the feet to be up on something if you don't want it. This is just an option. 'With time, your head might even drop into the fold of your feet, or you can build the floor up to you again here. I just showered, so my forehead and the arches of my feet is fine. 10 breaths. Last 3. One more inhale. Exhale, look forward, walk your hands back. If you did have your feet up on something, carefully move your feet off of the block, and then extend your 2 legs out and shake it out. Good. If you're off to the side, turn your feet to face the front of your mat again. And we're going to come to lie down on the back, setting up to finish in a supported back bend of your choice. So that could be supported bridge with a block underneath your pelvis. You can do the same thing with a blanket under your pelvis. It's just a little bit lower to the ground, or a big pillow. But lifting the hips up and putting your pelvis up on something. I did a lot of forward folding, so just want to bring it back down on the back, opening up a little more of the front line of the body. You can stay knees bent, feet down. Maybe you extend the legs forward and the arms back so that you're draping your body over the block. Only do what feels like you could stay here for 2 minutes, because that's what we're gonna do. And the low back is free. There's nothing touching your low back. It's just the sacrum, the hard, flat bone at the base of your spine, and the very top of your seat on the block. The flesh of your butt is free of the block. And then the shoulder heads are down, the back of your skull is down. Shoulder blades are probably down too. Ten breaths. Last three. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Return the feet to the floor, knees bent if they're not there. Reach your arms down. Lift the hips up and take whatever you had underneath you. Coming to set up for your final rest, your Shavasana. You can bring feet together, knees apart if you'd rather Supta Baddha Konasana. You can put something underneath both knees if you would like that. So I'm going to roll up the blanket and put it under my knees. And then the arms down and a little bit away from your body. Making yourself warm and comfortable, eyes closed. Allowing the body to fully rest now. Sponge up your hard work. Committing it to memory. Memory of the muscles and of the connective tissue. So that you're gaining the flexibility that you want. The elasticity, the longevity. So that you can bounce back physically and mentally in any situation. Breathing in and breathing out. Starting to make your breath a little bit more audible. Rocking the head side to side. Wiggle the fingers and toes. Peel your arms up over your head. Point your toes forward. Stretch long. And then bend the knees. Roll off to your left side. And make your way to a seat. And try to sit cross-legged the way that you don't normally. So, meaning come to cross-legged and then switch your shin. Just for fun. Eyes close again. Hands down on your legs, grounding you, feeling you into the earth, keeping this more grounded energy, this yin energy. And then simply bow your head down into your practice and whatever it holds for you, gratitude, prayer. Namaste.